you were the CTO at Entropic in 2023 and 2024. It's a Series A company. It raised a total of $25 million by AceCap. You weren't the founding CTO, right? So how did you get from history major at Oxford to CTO at a financial services company? And also, and maybe you could tell us what Entropic does, because I was looking at their website, which I'm going to just pull up here really quick. And I'm looking at their website. It's a very fancy looking website. First of all, I love this like 80s branding. It reminds me of that like 80s. Remember like the cups that had like the blue and the purple like swirls on them and everything?
Kind of Tron-y.
Got this cool animation as you scroll down, which I haven't seen a website do that before. Unlocking the power of information. That sounds good. Yeah, Cosmos is collapsing into disorder. Yeah, it's all this stuff. But I can't actually tell what this company does and what their product builds. So maybe tell us that. But how did you get there?
Sure. So I think probably it starts about 10 years ago. I'll do the short version, as short as I can make it. So 10 years ago, I joined like my first startup. It was called Byline Media, and it still actually is going today, sort of like different owners, etc. But it's still kind of going quite strong here in the UK. And the key idea with Byline when I joined it was crowdfunded journalism. So Kickstarter for journalism basically was the pitch. So this is where are we now? So this is 2014.
It was supposed to be like a Substack, like.
So now we've got stuff like Substack, and we've got examples of like how this could have worked. Needless to say, in 2014, it did not work. People have never really paid for journalism. Essentially, when you buy a newspaper or magazine, you're just buying adverts with some other content in between, right? The advertising is what paid for all of the kind of those traditional news things. So actually when it faced with the actual cost of what it costs to like pay journalists to do work, a lot of people were like, wow, no. Substack is its own case, and it'll be interesting to see how that scales. But certainly at the time...
Yeah, micropayments never took off either.
So the company then pivoted pretty hard, pretty quickly into like online fiction. It became a company called Radish, which again is still going well, and it ended up exiting for, I think, like 650 million, was sold to a Korean company. So it went on to do very well. I joined on the content side, so I was like dealing with like getting writers on board, first journalists, kind of the fiction writers, writing lots of, newsletters, content stuff, all that sort of thing. So that was, but what I realized is like, man, startups are a lot of fun. They're like crazy, but they're a lot of fun. And also I love the product and tech world. Like, this is awesome. I want to do that basically. And so my original thought was I'll be a product manager, but I was like, but I kind of want to learn to code. So maybe I'll learn to code a bit. And so I did a boot camp, and basically they were like, we've had a few people come in here saying that you want to do this to become product managers. They all just become devs because it's a lot more fun. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I joined and then became a developer. And I'd say then for the next, like, whatever that is, so that was about 8 years. The next kind of like 6-7 years was kind of working like big, like, so the first company I worked for properly was called Times Educational Supplement, or TES. And that, like, the company itself is like 100 years old. It's part of the Times newspaper, right? So, I went from like pretty established, but still quite forward-looking. Actually, it was like a very forward-looking CTO and doing quite innovative tech stuff at the time. But I kind of like worked my way almost like one more earlier in the life stage of the company. And so by the time I got to Entropic, I actually joined as like an engineering manager. And this is actually kind of a common pattern I see kind of startups, where they'll hire their first like head of engineering or VP of engineering or something like that. And then about 6 months later, they're fired because basically they come in, they go, well, I'm the head of engineering now. This is how we do it. And the founders go, actually, this is how we do it. And then fight. And then the founders win, right, eventually, unless the VP can adapt. So that's what happened. He was fired. And basically after a while, I was like, look, you need someone in this spot, right? You need someone leading the tech side, working directly with you as founders. Like, I haven't done this before, but only guarantee I can give you is that I will do it your way. I have no other way to do it apart from your way. And I think that got me the gig. And so I stepped into that role. And in terms of what Entropic does, you're right to point out that it's quite deliberately sort of secretive. I have to think about sort of how much I can share, but basically its clientele is hedge funds, and they sell financial forecasting data amongst other stuff to hedge funds. So it's a pretty niche market at the moment, and essentially they don't need to publicize what they do, because if you're in that world, if you are like a quant trader in this hedge fund space and this particular strategy within the hedge fund space, you'll know almost by word of mouth. Or it's like, apparently like the early sales demos were like, so the only challenge was to get in front of these people. As soon as they got in front of them, they just showed it, and it was like, yeah, and it was almost like, we've got to get it, because
everyone else is going to get it.
Exactly. It's like it just becomes almost like a utility. It's like we've got to get it because if we don't have it, everyone else is going to have that information. We lose the edge. So even if we're not getting an edge from it, we also just can't afford not to have it. It's going on to do lots of really interesting stuff. And I think in the future, the plan is to kind of go much more horizontal. And then maybe it will become something that people outside of that very small bubble know about. It's essentially kind of financial forecasting data.